All right, so moving into club business, Kyle wanted to say a few words about the Penguin Commission. We haven't really had too many people signing up yet, so we want to keep encouraging this and kind of talking about everything that we can do and how exciting it can be. So, Kyle?
So, you would be reading training part of it. I simplify everything. We had that online class. So, I have a copy of the list. Like, do it yourself, reading that.
I love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for making it so easy for all of us. I would love to do one. So anybody else that's interested, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Thanks for bringing that in. So I believe I mentioned at one point we did submit 4 grants this year to the district. It is the very first time we're going through the full grant requesting process. We have, as a club, we've donated quite a bit to the foundation, so it's important that we request back as much as we can so we can give back to the local community and make sure that whatever is going into the district foundation, our portion that we continue to add to, and that's through we have regular district dues that we're paying in, all of the additional donations. If any of you sign up to have regular donations going into the foundation, that's all dollars that we've donated that we can request back a certain percentage or a certain portion of that through the process of grant requesting, and we're able to make sure that it stays right here in Findlay and helping out with the projects that we've donated to financially. So I'm excited to be going through that process. The one thing that's a little different this year, I had a good conversation with the board yesterday, and prior to that, spoke with Deb Cheney, who is the foundation chair for the district. We are not able to request grants for just anything, but they are absolutely committed as a district. Keith Hodkins has said that no matter what, he wants to make sure that every single club gets $1,000 as long as we are participating and we're giving back to the community. So we've been going through that process to make sure that we at least get our $1,000, and the goal is to be able to provide thermometers to the local elementary schools because they have been running low, or they've had a lot of issues with faulty thermometers, and with kids being back in school even part-time, they are required to check the temperature of every single thing coming in. So we want to make sure that they have the tools that they need to make sure that the kids are staying safe and healthy, and that they have all the equipment as best as they can to continue to monitor that, and so that kids can continue going back to school in person and being able to get back to as much of a normal routine as possible. So that's what we are currently in the process of doing. That is our COVID relief effort as a club right now. So we are excited to be finalizing that process and getting our $1,000 back. And then next year we're kind of the other 3 grant requests that we put forth. They said we can just push those to next year, and we should be able to get the funds for those requested next year, be able to get that back. But this year's just a little goofy. They want to make sure that everything's focused on COVID efforts. So that's kind of where that stands, but it's going to be a really exciting thing because we've never gotten a grant funding approved before, so it'll be the first time as a club, and I think it's something really exciting we can celebrate. Working on continuing to record every meeting that we have. I have not had a chance to get any of those links posted to the website, though, but that is one of my top goals this week is to make sure that we get that updated, because I have all the recordings on my desktop right now, but we need to get the links on the website so people can view them. So that is top priority. I know that Jeff came up and made a little bit of a wonderful presentation about the Fit to Ship dollars. We do have everything tallied and finalized, so I just wanted to make sure we had some kind of rough numbers last week and the week before, but all the contributions that came in, we as a club, I'm super excited. You guys did an awesome job. We raised $1,147 ourselves, and then we said as a club we were going to do a $500 match. So the total that we are going to be giving to Mesa is $1,647. Yeah, $1,647. So that is a really big win, and I'm really excited about it. I believe that was everything that I wanted to make sure I covered as far as club business goes. The one last thing that I do want to mention, I really want to, I know I have a lot of thank yous going out, but I have three in particular that it's really important, and I think I want to make sure everybody is aware. Nicole has done a great job of scheduling our speakers, and she's had to do a lot of last minute scrambling. So some of the things that not everybody sees all the time, but you've probably noticed there have been some last minute changes. We've had a lot of speaker cancellations at the last minute, whether they've been sick, it is that time of year, or something has come up and they haven't been able to make it. So Nicole is the one in the background that is scrambling. You saw that SOS email go out yesterday, which I think is a great way to kind of handle that, because it makes sure that all of us as club members are kind of getting involved and doing what we can to help support her, because we all know it's not fun to have to do those last minute fire drills to try and get people to step up. So we really appreciate everything that you're doing, Nicole. Thank you very much. And I know I mentioned a thank you to Chris for stepping in at the last minute, bumping up his presentation, being ready for that. I really, really appreciate that. And I think we're all excited to see your presentation. And then my last thank you, I really want to say thank you to everybody that's been consistently showing up. And even if it's a little bit here and there, you know, you guys know who you are. We really appreciate anybody logging in online, anybody coming in person. We've been struggling a little bit with attendance. Look around and kind of see. So we're trying as a board, we've had some discussions, we're gonna kind of continue to have that discussion. We're gonna address the issue as best as we can. Obviously this is a volunteer club, so we can't force anybody to do anything, but we really appreciate those who have consistently been showing up and participating and still kind of taking the time to make sure that we get to see your faces or we get to hear your voices at least every couple of weeks. It's really nice and it's encouraging, and I'm excited to still kind of work and getting things back to a little bit more of a normal routine as the months go by. So with that, does anybody else have anything as far as club business or committee reports go at this particular time? Yeah.
This salvation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, we didn't hear.
No.
You said, well,
I didn't hear that they were starting earlier, but our plan was to send around a sign-up sheet, so I'll make sure that I get specific dates, because we were thinking it wasn't going to be for a little while still, but we'll make sure that we stay on top of it. Yep. Okay. We'll reach out to them. We'll make sure that we have that. Thank you.
We have more assignment that already went out.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
This is asking.
Okay.
Just so that they are doing.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We will make sure to get our names on the list a little quicker then. Okay. All right. So with that, I am going to hand it off. Did you send a bio to Chad?
Yep.
Okay, Chad, go ahead and introduce our speaker, please.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
yes, sir.
Wonderful. Our very own Chris Roekle was named Capital Athletic Conference Commissioner effective July 1, 2020. Since joining the CAC in 2018 as Associate Commissioner, Roekle has been an integral part of daily conference office operations while also enhancing promotional and communication efforts. He previously spent 5 years with the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference as Associate Commissioner for Championships and External Relations. Prior to joining the league office, Roekle spent 1 year at the University of Nebraska as a graduate communications intern for the Huskers. Roekle coordinated communication efforts for the 2013 Big Ten champion women's soccer team and served as media coordinator for the 2014 NCAA women's basketball tournament regional in Lincoln. Roekle made his start in athletics as a member of the Athletic Media Relations Office at his alma mater, Saginaw Valley State University. A native of Saginaw, Michigan, Roekle earned his bachelor's degree in finance and accounting in 2009. Roekle went on to further his education at SVSU and obtained his master's degree in business administration in 2013. Chris resides in Findlay with his wife, Erin, for 2 more weeks before they relocate to Vero Beach, Florida. So here we go, our very own Commissioner Roekle.
Thank you very much. Thanks,
Good enough.
All right.
Yes.
So I never have to dress up ever, which is amazing. So this is what you get. That's from my announcement. Clicker here.
Oh, it's
Yeah. So I'm glad I get to. I hear it a lot. What do you do for a living? Nobody. It's very different, very unique. I'm lucky to be in this field. I have a finance degree. I wanted to work in insurance. I can't imagine really that this is real life for me. So I'm going to tell you kind of about my career, how I got started. Chad mentioned some of it, and then my conference, which is going through some interesting times right now, and then also kind of how COVID is affecting us. It's not good, but you'll hear about it. All right.
hang on.
Okay. Off and rolling. So I got my start in Saginaw, at Saginaw Valley State University, where I'm from, up in Saginaw, Michigan. Didn't really know what to do for college, so I stayed there. I kind of, after I graduated, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then I had a friend who kind of got me involved in athletics. Worked there for 2 years. He's a communications intern, running the website, doing stats. It's called sports information in the athletics field. So worked there for 2 years, got my MBA. Did not plan on continuing in athletics. I thought I was going to get my MBA going to the business school, but that did not happen. I got a great opportunity to work at the University of Nebraska through a men's basketball coach at Saginaw Valley who had ties to Tim Miles. He was the former coach at Nebraska for a couple of years. So I ended up being a Division I or Division II, which is what Saginaw Valley is, just like the University of Findlay. Division II kid who's all of a sudden standing on the field at Big Ten home games, working the sidelines, getting that really wow factor, especially the cool factor experience. I have a Big Ten women's soccer championship ring that I was going to bring today and I forgot. Very, very nice. I need to get it appraised because it has diamonds in it. So it's very cool. The year I was at Nebraska, they opened a bunch of facilities, brand new facilities, basketball, volleyball. If you don't know, they packed the house with 8,000 volleyball fans every night, sold out for the season. Pretty nutty stuff. Those Nebraska fans, they're pretty unrealistic, I would say. They don't really have a pro team. They root for a lot of Kansas City pro teams, but the Huskers are their pro team. It's a regional team. It's absolute insanity on game days in Lincoln, especially football.
One of the trivia things it wasn't a good question. It said that weight room, University of Nebraska, I assume for the football team in Rockland, is the largest in the country.
It's massive. It's massive. Yeah. It's got, in Ndamukong Suh, it has his name all over it. He donated a lot of money to make that happen. But, so yeah, very cool experience. Worked there for a year. I actually had a 2-year contract. It was a 2-year deal. And at the end of my first year, a guy I knew from, the Saginaw Valley State plays in the GLIAC. University of Findlay used to play in the GLIAC. I got a call from a guy who worked at the GLIAC come work at the GLIAC. That was back home. That was in Bay City, which is right next to Saginaw, as an assistant commissioner. So I did that for 5 years as a assistant commissioner for championships and external operations. Just conference life is so much different. You work with your sports. When you work in a conference, it's all about your championships. That's really conference championships at the end of the year. That's what you have. And it's actually how I met my wife, because the GLIAC softball tournament used to be held here at the Marathon Diamonds in Finley. And I was down here for the tournament, and I was on my phone, very single at the time. And on my phone, I met my wife on a dating app. So while I was down here for the tournament, and before we left town, met up for lunch, and here we are. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, so worked at GLIAC for 5 years, really, I don't know, kind of made my name for myself, I guess. Really good experience. Convinced my new boss to let me work from home and move down here to Finland. I've been working from home for like 4 or 5 years now. It's amazing. So I hope to never have to go in the office again. And then I was kind of like the 4 or 5 year mark, and another opportunity came along, and that was from actually the same guy who hired me to the GLIAC. He's the commissioner of the Capital Athletic Conference, and he lived out in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is for like 45 minutes south of DC. Just kind of had a good opportunity for me. Knew that there could be potential someday to be in charge. He knew he wasn't going to be there forever. Slide is okay. Yeah, and so I started there working remotely from Ohio here, and if I needed to go over there, I just flew over to DC from Detroit, real easy, real simple. You come pick me up, and we go to a couple championships. So basically, what that was almost 3 years ago, like right now. And then timelines. I've never given a presentation on this before, so bear with me 1 second. Really good experience. We've had some big time membership issues, and so budgets were shrinking. And so my boss, Jeff, he had to find his next position. And so he got his, he's now the commissioner of what's called the NAC, the NACC, the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference, based out of Milwaukee. And so he left, and they didn't even make the interview for the job this summer. They just made me commissioner, which was fantastic. So there was one other guy in the running, and everyone knew they didn't want to hire him. So yeah, so it worked out great for me. So here's kind of the little background information on the CAC. Founded 1989, founding schools, Catholic, Gallaudet, Mary Washington, Marymount, St. Mary's, York, College of Pennsylvania. We've gone through some big, even scary membership changes. Last year we were 6 schools, and then New York College of Pennsylvania left. And so we have the membership changes there. So currently, I guess, what we were looking at is Christopher Newport University, which is in Newport News, Virginia. Mary Washington is in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And Salisbury is in Salisbury, Maryland, out on the coast. And then we currently have St. Mary's College of Maryland and Southern Virginia, who are, they're in their last year right now at the conference. So if we wouldn't have added members, we would just have 3. And 3 is you're dead. it's just not going to work. So the next slide is we had to expand, and this past June, we expanded and added 6 schools from added 6 schools from across the country. From left to right, UC Santa Cruz, California, Finlandia University in Hancock, Michigan, right across the canal from Michigan Tech, Mills College in Oakland, California, all-women's school, Mount Mary University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is also an all-women's school, Pine Manor College in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, right next to Boston College, and Pratt Institute, one of the top architecture schools in the country in Brooklyn, New York. So quite the array of schools. These schools were all part of another conference that was doing a nationwide concept, which I'll talk about here. And so basically all those schools came over to us. Typically when you leave a school, there's an exit fee process, but when everyone leaves a conference, you don't need to wait, you don't need to pay anything. So, and so this is our current membership, tough to see. But you gather what's going on here. So this is our map, this is our nationwide map. And, how does this work? How does this work as a conference? We are very non-traditional. There's only a conference or two that are like this, but we're probably the most diverse from coast to coast. So these schools don't play conference schedules against each other during the regular season. We have a rating system that ranks the teams in each sport, and at the end of their sport season, they go to wherever the host is. And our host tournaments are all predetermined. So as far as like planning and travel and it being somewhat affordable or to keep costs down, we have a process in place where, we book flights in advance and assign them, just put a deposit down. So we're not scrambling flights at the last second. So even though these schools are all in the same conference, they rarely see each other. And why is this appealing to some of these schools? Because some of these schools don't have any opportunities. They're kind of, I've heard it said they're misfits. They just don't have a home and they're looking for a home. So, yeah. So this is our nationwide championships concept. And the big other reason why this concept, why these schools will be interested in this concept is the AQ. The AQ refers to, like, each conference has an AQ to the NCAA tournament. So long as you have at least 7 teams in that particular sport, that's the magic numbers. You got to have 7 in order to get the AQ. So if you think about it, we've been at such a low membership number lately. That's why 3 doesn't work. 3 doesn't get you anywhere. There's 43 Division III conferences, and so there's 43 automatic qualifiers. That's what the AQ stands for. And so having that AQ is very coveted. So that every championship you have, you get somebody in the NCAA. They get a chance to go as far as they can. So that's the big ticket to why everyone wants to be a part of this. So that just on the left shows you our AQ sports. So I guess sports you don't see on that left-hand side, we're under our 7 number. We need to build it back up. And when we do, membership will be a continual need for us. And we're working on it right now. We've got a potential just blockbuster thing that could happen in the next couple of months, and it could be amazing. We get all of their AQs back. And COVID's playing a big part of that too, where schools are struggling so much that they might have to look for other opportunities. And so then the column on the right is just the sports that we host conference championships So conference challenges, kind of touched on it earlier. No regular season schedule. So the tough part about that for the schools is they need to build their own schedule. Places like the University of Findlay, they play in the GMAC, the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. A large 80% at least of your schedule are conference games. And so that's why a traditional conference is it's a sweet deal because you don't have to do any other work to find games. So a lot of schools that our schools play are maybe not Division III, they might be Division II, or they might be NAIA or National Junior College schools. It's just kind of a free for all, whoever you get. And this year, a lot of conferences are going conference only to kind of give them a inner bubble, like a conference bubble. And that's even provided more challenges because play non-conference games in your region typically, and that's been a trend, during this COVID year. And so planning for conference championships, our host sites are predetermined. So if you're the top seed in a sport, you may not particularly host. So that's a challenge. And also on the flip side, if you're not good at all, but you're host, you're a predetermined host, you get to play, even no matter how bad you may be, which will be unique. The other part of this is we haven't been able to do any of this yet. This is the first year for this, and our fall was canceled, and our winter is about to be canceled. So it's tough sledding, and we keep telling people about this, but we're like, haven't been able to do it yet, but we'll see. And it'll get off, it'll get going at some point, but it's just tough. And then so the last line, our sports, field hockey, men's lacrosse, and women's lacrosse, those are sports that we're really good at. Salisbury's, Christopher Newport, Mary Washington, our remaining original three CSC schools, they're really good. They're contending for national championships in those sports year in, year out, but they're the only schools who have those sports for us. So we'll have to find members for those sports. Another question I get asked is, how are we funded? Membership dues, schools pay membership dues. They vary. So a bunch of the new schools don't have every sport. Like we have 2 all-women's schools, so they only have a handful of sports. So we had to put a per sport dues model in place. So everyone kind of pays something different based on what they have, what they offer, which is nice to have flexibility to try to attract somebody to the league like that. And then exit fees, we've had a bunch of members leave. But you don't just leave and that's it. Actually, if you leave and give 2 years notice, you don't have to pay anything, but anything less than that, it's basically $25,000 a year. So I don't think we've had anybody leave with 2 years notice. So we've had a lot of exit fees coming in. That keeps us alive, and that gives us a chance to try to, figure this out. And it's not an absolute immediate need. We don't need members today. We need them tomorrow, but not today. So, and then NCAA grant funds. And so we get, it's like $7,000 per school that we have. And that's funded to us through the NCAA grant program. And we're allowed to spend that in certain areas. And that's just some of them there, which we spend a lot of money in those areas. And the reason we're able to have the NCAA grant exists is from the Division I basketball tournament. And that's why, coming up here in a couple months, they're going to make that happen. Somehow, some way, they're going to do the NBA bubble. However they do it, the NCAA needs to have that tournament because it funds a large part of the other divisions, Division II and Division III. So that's a huge, huge factor. And then also we're a nonprofit, and we just try to balance our expenses at the end of the year. You know, the only expenses we have right now are my salary, and we just hired one of our former athletic directors who just retired to be my assistant for the year. It's working out really well. He's going to be a mentor to me, so he already has been. And then just like operational costs. So yeah, current COVID challenges in Division III. The NCAA the last month or so has come out with pretty strict testing guidelines for basketball. And the tough part about it for Division III is the guidelines are for all divisions. Our schools don't have nearly the money. You know, the reason the Big Ten is starting football this weekend is because they have the money, they have the resources. Our schools have neither, and it's not even close. So, you know, our schools are thinking right now, you know, do we spend $500,000 on testing, or do we, for what may be some sort of a lesser compromised experience this year? Because even if they do play, it's not going to be the same. There's all these COVID in place. But if we can do that and pay it and try to see how it goes, or, you know, the opportunity cost of like, what can we get a new basketball court with that $500,000 or something? So there's a lot of that talk going on, and it's a really tough challenge for Division III. So the NCAA is recommending 3 times per week testing for indoor sports. I guess unless you're universally masked, they have all these rules to like make it once a week. But the testing is not cheap, and it includes more than just the price for testing too. It's the administrative fees, who's given the test, you know, who reads the results, and then you get into the logistical challenge of who has access to those results and gets them. It's a mess. It's a mess, and it consumes my everyday life right now, and it's a lot. It's a lot to take. It's a mental battle on top of trying to move. So yeah. So the other logistical part of it is it requires tons of physical and financial resources. Another big challenge for these small schools, and University of Finland's experiencing it too, is they only have a couple trainers. Some of our schools have maybe 1 or maybe, if they're lucky, 2 trainers. And you're putting all this COVID stuff on top of those trainers too. And those trainers admit they're not doctors. And I say I'm not a doctor all the time, but you know, I get questions about testing interpretations. It's just, like I keep saying, it's a challenge. So, we're currently called the Capital Athletic Conference. That doesn't make any sense anymore, does it? You know, we're nationwide. We got to change that, and so we're probably like a month away from rolling out our new branding. And so this is very top secret kind of information. We're actually at 11. We have a call with our athletic directors. We have a little committee, and the full athletic directors will come together, and we're showing this to them kind of for the first time. So this will be our new logo. Our new name will be the Coast to Coast Athletic Conference. Kind of makes sense, right? So very cool, very modern. We spent a lot of time on this thing, and I can't wait to just get it rolling. It's pretty self-explanatory. I guess I can take you inside some of the thought behind it. The red is for like, we were thinking of commonalities. What does everyone have? You know, the red is like the sun and sunrise and sunset, and then the blue is the ocean. Almost all of our schools, or water, I guess I should say. Almost all of our schools have water very, very close nearby. And so this is our full primary logo. Our secondary logo, if you think coast to coast, C, let's say SEA to C, or C2C. So we're the CAC right now, and for us to kind of transition to the C2C, it just works. One of our athletic directors came up with this concept, and it was a no-brainer. Once she said it, it's a no-brainer. So, and here's one more image that just kind of really brings it to life. So, very exciting future for a new conference, our newly aligned conference. Yeah, so that's really all I have. I guess one more thing that just came to my mind was like, why did we struggle with membership and why did schools leave? It's pretty similar to the University of Findlay left the GLIAC like 3 years ago. It's kind of competition based. You know, the Grand Valley State has one of the top D2 programs in the country, and a lot of the smaller schools in the GLIAC at the time, and Findlay was the best of those schools. You know, they left because competitively they just couldn't keep up. And so for us, our Christopher Newport, Mary Washington, and Salisbury, they're all public schools, and all the rest were private. So privates just couldn't keep up eventually. And so the public-private divide in Division III is a big deal, and it's not getting any better, and that's why kind of we are where we are today. So I don't know if anyone has any questions, but I'm glad I can bring you into my world for a little bit.
So why are you going to Florida? That was.
Yeah. So like I can live wherever. And so my wife's parents live in Vero Beach, so that's why we're moving there. My parents are coming here. My parents live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and so they're coming here on Saturday and helping us pack for the week, and then they just bought one-way tickets, $14 from Detroit to Myrtle Beach each. So it's a no-brainer. And then we're going to their house, next weekend. Spending a week there and then go down to Florida.
Gallaudet out of the conference.
Yes.
I have a nephew who was once years ago, this is football. And that's pretty fascinating. Yeah. Play any sport, really. Yeah. It's all body sound, vibration, bass drum, clap.
There's a new Netflix series on Gallaudet. It's called. Yeah, my wife started watching it last weekend, and I started watching it. I was like, oh, Gallaudet. It's called Deaf You. It's really fascinating. Yeah. Check it out.
Interesting, but
yeah. Anyone else?
I like the logo. I think
It's very, very cool. You know, there's like nothing like this. Can't wait to start. Like I don't have anything. We just kind of started getting merchandise ready and some promotional stuff together that we're going to send out to everybody. So we ordered gaiters for 4,000 of them for like everybody, so we can give one to like everyone in our conference. So, but anyways, yeah, and I just want to say like I'm sad to leave. It's been great being involved with Rotary. And I've been working from home. I don't know a whole lot of people here in town, other than people kind of at the University of Findlay and their athletic department. So really tough to get outside, to get out of the house.
How much travel?
Yeah,
I guess the first one.
quite a bit. You know, it'll be like membership based if we're trying to attract members. Once I'm kind of allowed to travel. Yeah, recruiting, and then for championships, championships are fall, winter, and spring, and I'll be somewhere for at least those 3 times a year. I can't be everywhere at once. Typically, all of our championships are like on the same weekend, so it's really difficult to be in more. It's not like you go one place one week, next week. No, it's just you got to pick one. Yeah, where at?
This is fascinating. Bethany was.
Oh, okay. In the pack. Their commission commissioner is a great,
What? Football.
their commissioner is a great guy. I didn't know they were in the pack. I'm so
Well,
very,
So I
yeah. I have a lot to learn in Division 3, I can tell you. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation, and I think I can speak for everybody when I say we are going to be sad to see you go also. But we wish you all the best and enjoy the weather. At least I'm a little jealous that you get to leave at the perfect time to head down to warmer weather, but send us pictures, stay in touch. All right, does anybody else have anything for the good of the order? All right, then let's go make it a great day. Thanks, guys.
I sat just.
Yeah.